You are not your thoughts. That voice inside your head that keeps whispering, you can't do this, isn't you? It's the echo of your past, the residue of fear, the noise of failure that never got cleaned out. It's the mind doing what it's designed to do, protect you from pain, keep you safe, keep you average. But safe and average are just another form of slow death. The truth is, the moment you start believing that inner noise, you give away control. The mind isn't the enemy, but it's not your master either. It's a tool. And like any tool, if you don't take control of it, it'll control you. Most people never realize how much of their life is being dictated by thoughts that aren't even real. Thoughts born from fear, from rejection, from childhood, wounds that never healed. They wake up in the morning and already start losing because their mind starts talking before they even get out of bed. You're tired. You failed yesterday. Why bother? And they believe it. But that's the moment you've got to wake up and say, no, not today. You've got to learn to separate yourself from that noise. When the voice says you're not good enough, you don't argue with it. You act anyway. You push anyway. Because every time you take action in the face of doubt, you remind yourself who's really in control. See, negative thoughts aren't something you can completely kill. They'll always be there. But you can starve them. You can take away their power by refusing to feed them your attention. The mind will keep throwing them at you because that's how it tests you. Every challenge, every hardship, every failure, it's all the mind trying to see if you'll fold or fight. And the fight isn't physical, it's mental. When you stop attaching emotion to every dark thought that enters your head, they start losing their grip. The mind only wins when you react. You've got to become the observer, not the victim of your thinking. When a negative thought comes in, look at it for what it is. A passing cloud. It's not permanent. It's not you. It's not truth. It's just a piece of data from your brain trying to protect you from discomfort. But here's the thing. Everything great lives beyond discomfort. Every version of yourself that you've ever dreamed of becoming is waiting behind those walls of fear and self-doubt. You don't break through by thinking positive. You break through by acting in spite of negativity. Positive thinking alone won't save you. Discipline will. Most people try to fight their negative thoughts with comfort. They try to distract themselves, run from the noise, drown it with entertainment, with other people, with temporary highs. But that's not killing negativity. That's feeding it. Every time you run from discomfort, you're teaching your mind that the noise is stronger than you. The only way to reverse that is to do the opposite. Lean into it. Sit with it. Feel it. Then move through it. When you learn to face the noise without fear, you take away its weapon. The thoughts can come, but they no longer own you. You've got to realize your mind will always talk. It never shuts up. It's always searching for safety, scanning for problems, replaying mistakes, predicting disasters that never happen. That's what the mind does. But your job is to be the commander, not the passenger. You set the direction and your thoughts follow. You stop living reactively. You stop getting dragged by emotions. You stop letting your mood dictate your movement. When you understand that you and your mind are two different things, you become dangerous. Because now, even when the fear is loud, you move anyway. The strongest people in this world aren't the ones without negative thoughts. They're the ones who've learned how to master them. They've trained their minds like a muscle, rep by rep, pain by pain, until those thoughts lost their power. You've got to train your mind the same way you train your body. Every time a negative thought comes and you push through it, that's a rep. Every time you silence that inner voice with action, that's progress. It's not about winning one big battle. It's about winning the small battles every single day. You'll never be able to stop your mind from talking, but you can choose which thoughts deserve your energy. Not every thought deserves your attention. When you start filtering what you listen to, your entire reality changes. You'll begin to notice that half the time your thoughts are just fear wearing a disguise. What if I fail? What will they think? What if I'm not ready? Those thoughts are poison if you drink them, but they become fuel if you face them. When you say, I hear you, but I'm still going, that's when growth begins. You need to understand that belief is built through evidence. You can't think your way into confidence. You act your way into it. Every time you take a step despite fear, you're proving your old thoughts wrong, and your mind starts learning a new language, resilience. That's how transformation happens. Not through comfort, not through fake positivity, but through action that contradicts the lies your mind tells you. Negative thoughts are part of the process. They show up every time you're about to level up. The mind tries to pull you back to what's familiar because it fears the unknown. But the unknown is where your best self lives. So when those thoughts come, smile at them. They're a sign you're moving in the right direction. When your mind says you can't, let that be your signal that you must. When it tells you to quit, go twice as hard. That's how you reprogram your brain. You don't argue with it, you outwork it. You've got to stop identifying with weakness. Stop calling yourself the name your thoughts give you. You're not broken, you're not lazy, you're not a failure. You're just someone who's been listening to the wrong voice for too long. Start listening to the one that doesn't care about comfort, the one that moves no matter what. That voice is inside you too. You've just buried it under years of doubt, but it's still there, waiting for you to wake it up. Killing negative thinking isn't about pretending those thoughts don't exist. It's about starving them of attention until they fade into background noise. It's about separating the real you, the one with purpose, drive, and potential, from the one that's built on fear. The battle will never end, but that's what makes it worth fighting. Every day you get to choose which version of you wins, the one who listens to the noise or the one who commands it. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who decides what happens next. Your mind can either be your prison or your weapon, and that choice will always belong to you. Pain is the doorway to control. It's the place where every excuse dies and every weakness gets exposed. You don't find strength sitting in comfort. You find it in the moments when everything inside you wants to quit. Pain is the filter that separates the ones who say they want change from the ones who actually mean it. Everyone talks about growth, discipline, greatness, but nobody wants to feel the sting that comes with it. The truth is, if you're not willing to suffer a little, you'll always stay a prisoner of your mind. The reason most people never gain control over their thoughts is simple. They avoid pain. They run from the very thing that's meant to make them stronger. When you hide from pain, you hide from growth. When you avoid the struggle, you feed your negative thinking. That's where it breeds, in comfort, in safety, in softness. The mind loves comfort because comfort keeps it in charge. The moment you step into pain, the mind starts losing power. Every time you willingly choose discomfort, you're telling your mind, you don't own me. Pain is not the enemy, it's a signal. It's the alarm that tells you you're getting closer to who you could be. When you start pushing your limits, that pain rises up. It's fear, doubt, fatigue, resistance, and your mind screams to stop. But if you stop, you feed that weakness. If you push through, you start building control. That control doesn't come from feeling good. It comes from doing what you said you'd do, even when everything inside you wants out. The mind's biggest weapon is comfort. It uses comfort to keep you predictable, to keep you from finding your edge. That's why when you start chasing something real, something hard, your mind fights back. It starts whispering, take a break. You've done enough. You're tired. That's not truth. That's the mind trying to protect its throne. But pain doesn't lie. Pain reveals who you are when everything's stripped away. When you're tired, hungry, frustrated, and broken, that's when your true self steps out. That's when you see what's real. You've got to learn to sit in the pain long enough to see what it's teaching you. Everyone wants quick results. They want the strength without the sacrifice, the success without the suffering. But it doesn't work like that. Growth is born in pain. Discipline is carved in pain. Confidence is built in pain. You don't gain control of your mind by reading motivational quotes. You gain it by walking through fire and realizing you didn't die. Every rep, every run, every tough day, every failure, it's all pain training your mind to obey you, not the other way around. The reason pain brings control is because it forces you to be present. When you're deep in discomfort, you can't drift into negativity. You have to focus. The mind that usually runs wild with fear and doubt suddenly has no room to think. Pain shuts down the noise. It strips away all the lies and excuses and leaves only truth. Either you keep going or you quit. That's clarity. That's control. When you start using pain as a tool, everything changes. You stop seeing it as something to escape and start seeing it as something to master. The goal isn't to avoid pain, it's to become immune to it. Not by numbing yourself, but by building a mind so strong that discomfort no longer dictates your decisions. When you can stay calm in chaos, when you can think clearly while everything hurts, that's when you've built true control. That's when you've killed the weakness that's been running your life. People think control means having everything figured out, being calm and perfect all the time. No. Control means you still feel the pain, but it doesn't move you anymore. You still hear the doubt, but you don't listen. You still feel fear, but you don't freeze. Pain trains you to respond with action instead of emotion. It teaches you to stop negotiating with your mind because the mind will always give you an exit. Pain takes that exit away. When you start chasing pain on purpose, something shifts inside you. The workouts that once broke you start to empower you. The failures that once embarrassed you start to fuel you. The criticism that once crushed you starts to sharpen you. Pain becomes familiar, and familiarity breeds power. You stop being afraid of what hurts because you've been there before and survived. That's how you gain control over your thoughts. You've proven to yourself again and again that discomfort won't destroy you. The process is simple but brutal. You have to face pain with open arms. You have to go toward what scares you. Every time you choose the harder path, you're reprogramming your mind. The first time it screams, the second time it resists, but the 100th time it obeys. The pain that once paralyzed you becomes fuel. It's not about loving the pain. It's about respecting it, because pain is the only truth the mind can't fake. It's the only experience that forces honesty. There's a version of you that lives on the other side of pain, a version that doesn't fold under pressure, doesn't drown in self-doubt, doesn't get shaken by fear. But you'll never meet that version if you keep running from what hurts. You've got to earn that version. You've got to bleed a little for it. The person who can endure pain without breaking is the person who controls their mind, because they've learned that feelings are temporary, but discipline lasts forever. Pain doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're alive. It means you're stretching beyond what you thought was possible. The only difference between people who grow and people who don't is how they respond when the pain shows up. The weak run. The strong stay. The strong feel every ounce of it and still move forward. That's where real freedom is found, in that moment where everything hurts, but you refuse to back down. You can't escape pain, but you can use it. You can let it sharpen you, guide you, strengthen you. Every time you face it, you gain more control. Every time you avoid it, you lose a little more of yourself. So when life starts to hurt, don't flinch, don't retreat, step closer, because pain is not there to destroy you. It's there to reveal you. Pain is the door you've been avoiding, but behind that door is everything you've been chasing: discipline, clarity, control, peace. Once you walk through it, the noise starts to fade. The doubts quiet down. The negativity loses power, because now you know the truth. Pain isn't your enemy. It's your proof. It's the sign that you're still in the fight. It's the signal that you're alive, growing, and finally taking control of the one thing that matters most: your mind. Stop negotiating with your mind. That voice inside you will always look for a way out. It will whisper reasons, excuses, soft lies that sound logical, but are nothing more than traps. It'll tell you to rest when you haven't earned it, to take it easy when things get tough, to quit because maybe it's not worth it. But the truth is, the moment you start negotiating, you've already lost. The mind is built to protect you, not to push you. If you give it room to argue, it will always convince you to settle. You can't reason with weakness. You can't debate with comfort. The mind's job is survival, not greatness. And that's why it will never support you when you're chasing something beyond average. It's wired to keep you safe inside the boundaries of what's familiar. Every time you set a goal, the mind starts calculating the risk, the pain, the failure that might come, and it starts searching for an exit. It's not evil. It's just doing its job. But if you want to live beyond mediocrity, you've got to stop listening to that voice. The most dangerous thing you can do is give your mind a vote. The moment you ask it, should I keep going? It will answer with comfort. When you're tired, it will say stop. When you're afraid, it will say hide. When you're uncomfortable, it will say quit. And the longer you listen, the louder it gets. But when you stop negotiating, when you decide before the moment comes, the power shifts. You don't need to feel like doing it anymore. You just do it. Discipline doesn't argue with feelings. It doesn't wait for motivation. It doesn't care what time it is or how tired you are. It simply acts. That's what separates the ones who build unbreakable minds from those who keep breaking under pressure. The strong have made a decision. I'm doing this no matter what. Once that decision is made, there's no more talking, no more thinking, no more options. Because options give weakness a seat at the table. The reason most people never change is because they keep negotiating with their limits. They say things like, I'll start tomorrow, I'll do it when I feel ready, or I deserve a break. But those thoughts are just comfort disguised as logic. You'll never feel ready. You'll never feel perfect. And the moment you start believing that you deserve comfort before progress, you start feeding your negative thinking again. You can't kill negativity by talking to it. You kill it by starving it. You kill it by doing the opposite of what it tells you. When your alarm goes off in the morning and your mind says, sleep a little longer, that's your test. It's not about waking up early. It's about who's in control. When you say, I'll do it later, that's not a delay. That's surrender. Every small negotiation adds up until your mind learns that you don't really mean what you say. And that's the real problem. You've trained your mind to stop believing in your own words. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your power. Every time you push through, you strengthen it. The goal isn't to silence the voice. It's to act while it's talking. You can't wait for silence because the voice will never stop. It's part of you. It's always going to question, always going to resist, but your actions can drown it out. The louder your discipline becomes, the quieter that doubt gets. That's how you reclaim control. You've got to start treating your goals like non-negotiable missions. Not something you hope to do, but something you will do no matter the mood, no matter the weather, no matter the pain. You decide once, and the discussion ends. The mind loses its power when you stop entertaining its excuses. The difference between the person who quits and the one who wins isn't talent. It's how long they're willing to ignore that inner negotiation. Your mind will always try to talk you into weakness because it knows your patterns. It knows what excuses work. It knows your soft spots. It will say, you've done enough. You deserve a break. This isn't fair. And if you listen long enough, it starts sounding like truth. That's why you've got to learn to move before it starts talking. Action kills negotiation. Movement shuts down hesitation. Once you start moving, the argument dies. The mind only has power when you stop to listen. The moment you act, it loses control. When you choose movement over thoughts, when you decide to step forward no matter what your mind adapts, it realizes that the old tricks don't work anymore. That's how you build mental toughness, by proving to yourself that the voice of comfort is just noise. There's freedom in deciding that you no longer take orders from your feelings. Because feelings are temporary, they rise and fall like waves. One moment you feel unstoppable, the next you feel broken. But if you only move when you feel good, you'll never get anywhere. The mind uses emotions to trap you. You've got to use discipline to break free. Every time you do what you don't want to do, you're reclaiming a piece of your power. Control isn't built in comfort. It's built in those moments when everything in you screams no, and you still go. That's when you realize the mind is just noise. It's not your identity. You don't have to obey it. You just have to move through it. Once you stop giving in, it starts to follow you instead of leading you. That's real control, not the absence of weakness, but mastery over it. The mind will always try to make you comfortable, and comfort will always try to make you forget your purpose. That's the war you're in every single day. The battle between what you want now and what you want most. Between emotion and execution. Between comfort and control. The only way to win is to stop giving the mind space to argue. You can feel tired, but still move. You can feel fear, but still act. You can feel pain, but still push. That's what makes you unstoppable. Once you stop negotiating, everything becomes simple. Not easy, but simple. You wake up, you do what's required, and you stop asking how you feel about it. You stop explaining, stop justifying, stop complaining. The moment you cut off discussion, you cut off weakness. Because the mind only wins when you let it talk. When you move fast, when you act without hesitation. The mind doesn't have time to trap you. Every great transformation begins with one decision, no more negotiation. You draw the line. You stop giving your mind options. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and realize the perfect moment is now. You tell yourself, I'm in charge. I control what happens next. And once you live like that, your life changes. You become the one who commands, not the one who obeys. The world doesn't get quieter, but your mind does, because it knows it's no longer the one running the show. So stop negotiating with your mind. It's not your friend. It's not your leader. It's a tool, and it's your job to take control of it. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for peace. Move anyway. The only way to master your thoughts is to stop letting them dictate your life. Once you stop negotiating, you start living. That's where discipline is born. That's where control begins. And that's where you finally kill the noise that's been holding you back. Build an internal fortress. Because life will never stop throwing punches. People will doubt you. Situations will test you. And the world will try to break your rhythm every single day. You can't control what's coming, but you can control what you're made of. You can't stop the storm, but you can become the kind of person that walks through it without shaking. That's what it means to build a fortress inside yourself. A place that no negativity, no failure, no fear can touch. The problem is, most people build their walls outside. They rely on circumstances, comfort, validation, or people to keep them steady. But the moment those things collapse, they collapse too. The foundation is weak because it was built on things they can't control. Real strength is built in silence, when no one's watching, when everything inside you is telling you to quit and you still show up. Every rep, every lonely night, every tear you don't let break you. That's another brick in your fortress. You don't build inner strength when life is easy. You build it when everything falls apart and you keep moving anyway. Pain, failure, rejection, they're not there to destroy you. They're construction material. Every time you face them head on, you reinforce the walls inside you. You start realizing that control isn't about stopping bad things from happening. It's about not letting them control how you think, feel, or act. That's when you become untouchable. Negativity is everywhere. It's in people who gave up on their own dreams and want you to do the same. It's in the world that celebrates comfort over character. It's in your own mind, whispering that you're not enough. You can't run from it. You can't avoid it. But you can train yourself to rise above it. The fortress you build inside becomes your protection. It's not about closing yourself off from the world. It's about standing firm no matter what the world throws your way. The truth is, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you peace. You've got to create it within yourself. When life hits you hard, you've got two choices: break or build. Most people break because they've never taken time to build anything solid inside. They let every emotion, every opinion, every failure shake their core. You can't live like that if you want control. You've got to decide that no matter what happens outside, your inside remains unshaken. Building that kind of strength takes time. It's not built in a week. It's built through thousands of small battles. The mornings you get up tired but move anyway. The moments you fail but refuse to stop. The nights you feel alone but don't lose faith. Those are the moments that form your foundation. You don't realize it while it's happening. But every time you stay disciplined, when it's easier to give up, you're building another layer of armor around your mind. You've got to start treating your mind like a fortress under construction. Every day you add something to it: discipline, resilience, focus, patience. And every day you remove something that weakens it: doubt, laziness, fear, excuses. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. The more you build, the less control negativity is over you. When the world says you can't, you don't even flinch. When failure shows up, you don't collapse, you adjust and move forward. That's what mental strength looks like. Calm under pressure, clarity in chaos. You'll notice something powerful when you start building from within. The noise outside starts losing its volume. What people say doesn't hit you the same way. You stop needing approval. You stop craving comfort. You stop reacting to everything. Because you know who you are. And that identity is built on something real: your effort, your pain, your consistency. That's the foundation no one can take from you. Most people live as if life owes them peace. They wait for things to get easier, for people to be nicer, for circumstances to align. But peace isn't found out there. It's built in here. It's not something you wait for. It's something you create by how you respond. You don't get calm because the storm passes. You get calm because you've learned how to stand still in the rain. That's the difference between those who get lost and those who rise. You'll never stop the negative thoughts completely, but once you build that inner fortress, they won't control you anymore. They might knock, but they won't get in. Because inside, you've got something stronger: belief, discipline, purpose. You've trained yourself to see negativity as noise, not truth. You don't need to silence it. You just need to outgrow it. And the only way to outgrow it is by proving to yourself again and again that you're tougher than what tries to break you. The people who survive life's hardest moments aren't lucky. They're built. They've gone through so much that pain no longer scares them. They've seen darkness, but instead of running, they learn to walk through it. That's how you build your fortress. Through experience, through endurance, through every moment that could have broken you but didn't. There will always be days when you feel like it's all too much. When everything inside you screams that you can't handle it. Those are the days that matter most. That's where the building happens. Every time you fight through that noise, you're proving to yourself that you're stronger than the mind that wants to control you. Eventually, that strength becomes automatic. The things that once broke you now barely move you. You don't get shaken easily anymore because your foundation is solid. The world will test you again and again. You'll lose people, fail goals, face setbacks, and experience pain that feels unbearable. But every test is a chance to reinforce your walls. Every challenge is another opportunity to grow stronger within. You start to see pain differently. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start saying, "Try me." You stop reacting emotionally and start responding with clarity. Because once your fortress is built, the storm doesn't scare you. It motivates you. You must protect what you're building. That means guarding your energy, your focus, your environment. You can't surround yourself with negativity and expect to stay strong. You can't feed your mind garbage and expect to think clearly. You've got to be ruthless about what you allow in because your fortress is sacred. Every negative influence you let in chips away at the walls you've built. So protect it every day. Building an internal fortress isn't about being cold or emotionless. It's about being in control of your emotions instead of letting them control you. It's about staying calm when the world panics. It's about showing up when others disappear. It's about being so grounded that no failure, no insult, no fear can shake your direction. That's real strength. Not loud, not showy, but steady. The kind that doesn't break when life does. One day, you'll realize that nothing outside of you truly controls you anymore. The people who doubted you will still talk. The obstacles will still appear. The pain will still come. But inside, you'll be still because you've built your fortress brick by brick through every hardship you refuse to run from. That's the place where peace lives. That's the place where control begins. And that's the place no negativity will ever reach again. Embrace the mirror, because that reflection staring back at you is the rawest truth you'll ever face. The mirror doesn't lie. It doesn't care about excuses, opinions, or stories you tell yourself to feel better. It just shows what's real, who you are right now, not who you pretend to be. And most people can't handle that. They avoid it. They hide from it. They bury themselves in distractions because they don't want to face the person they've become. But real growth begins the moment you stop running from that reflection and decide to confront it. The mirror shows you everything you try to ignore. The laziness you justify, the promises you broke, the discipline you lost, the potential you've wasted. It's uncomfortable, but that's where truth lives. And the truth will always hurt before it heals. The person you want to become is trapped behind all the lies you keep telling yourself, and the only way to break through is to face them. You can't change what you won't confront. That mirror isn't your enemy, it's your reality check. It's the only thing that forces you to stop pretending and start doing. Every time you stand in front of the mirror, you should ask yourself one question. Am I doing everything I can to become the person I'm capable of being? If the answer is no, that's not a reason to feel shame. It's a reason to act. Because the mirror isn't about guilt, it's about responsibility. It's not there to judge you, it's there to remind you. The reflection doesn't change until you do. You can fake confidence, fake motivation, fake happiness in front of everyone else, but you can't fake it in front of yourself. That reflection sees everything. The mirror is brutal because it exposes your comfort. It shows the weight you haven't lost, the goals you've abandoned, the time you've wasted. But instead of hating what you see, use it. That pain you feel when you face yourself, that's fuel. That's honesty trying to wake you up. Most people look away when it hurts, but that's the exact moment you need to look harder. That's where accountability begins. That's where discipline grows. Because when you truly face yourself, you stop blaming everything else. There's no strength in denial. You can't build confidence by hiding from your reflection. You build it by owning it. Every flaw, every failure, every scar. You say, yes, that's me, but that's not where I stop. The mirror should never make you feel small. It should make you hungry. It should remind you that you've still got work to do, that you're not done yet, that the person you could be is waiting for you to wake up and start moving. You'll never kill negative thinking if you keep lying to yourself. You've got to face the parts of you that are weak, lazy, or afraid. Not to shame them, but to understand them. The mirror doesn't just reflect your body, it reflects your mindset. If you look in the mirror and all you see is failure, it's not the mirror's fault. It's the story you've been feeding yourself. You've been telling yourself that you're not good enough, and now you believe it. The only way to change that reflection is to change that story through action. Action is the cure for shame. When you start doing the things you said you'd do, the reflection changes. Not overnight, but gradually. You start seeing someone you can respect. Someone who follows through. Someone who's building discipline instead of excuses. That's how confidence is built, not from compliments, but from commitment. The mirror rewards consistency. It remembers everything, every workout you showed up for, every day you refused to quit, every moment you stayed disciplined when no one was watching. That's what changes your reflection. You've got to stop looking at the mirror like it's your enemy. It's your accountability partner. It's the one thing that never lies to you. It doesn't care how you feel. It only reflects what you've done. That's why most people avoid it, because they can't stand the truth. But if you truly want to grow, you've got to face it every single day. You've got to look yourself in the eye and be honest. Did I give everything today? Did I show up when it mattered? If the answer is no, then tomorrow, fix it. That's how you take control back, not through talk, but through relentless honesty. When you start embracing the mirror, something changes inside you. You stop needing external validation. You stop living for approval. You stop trying to look good for others and start trying to become good for yourself, because now your standard is internal. It's not about who's watching. It's about who you see when you're alone. You can lie to everyone else, but you can't lie to the mirror. And when you start earning your own respect, that's when you become unstoppable. You've got to be willing to face the ugly side of yourself, the jealousy, the laziness, the weakness, the fear. Don't hide from it. Stare at it until you understand it. Because once you see it clearly, it starts losing power. You can't defeat what you refuse to acknowledge. Most people live in denial because it's easier. But denial keeps you trapped. Truth sets you free even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. There will be days when you look in the mirror and see failure. You'll see someone who's tried and fallen again. And that's fine. That's part of it. The goal isn't to have a perfect reflection. The goal is to have an honest one. Every scar, every mistake, every setback, that's your proof that you didn't give up. That's your proof that you're still fighting. The reflection doesn't have to look pretty. It just has to be real. The mirror teaches humility. It reminds you that you're not done, that you've still got miles to go. But it also teaches pride, the right kind of pride, the kind that comes from doing the work, from knowing that every bit of progress you see you earned. You didn't fake it. You didn't talk about it. You lived it. That's what the mirror respects. When you face yourself daily, the noise in your head starts to fade. You stop overthinking because you're too busy proving. You stop doubting because you've got evidence. You start seeing a reflection that doesn't need motivation because it's built on discipline. The mirror doesn't lie, but it rewards truth. The more real you become, the stronger you get. The person you see in the mirror today is temporary. You're either building or decaying. You're either getting closer to who you're meant to be or further away. Every choice, every action, every moment decides what reflection you see next. That's the power of the mirror. It doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you've earned. So stand there and face it. Don't look away. Don't hide behind excuses. Don't cover your pain with pride. Be brutally honest with yourself, because honesty is the first step to freedom. The mirror isn't there to shame you. It's there to remind you that you're capable of more. You've just got to be willing to see it. Embrace the mirror. Let it show you who you are and who you could be. Let it remind you that every day is a new chance to build, to grow, to change. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be real. Because once you face the truth, once you own it fully, that reflection will start to change. And when it does, you'll realize something powerful. The person you've been chasing has been staring back at you all along, waiting for you to finally believe in them enough to take action. Discipline over emotion, that's where the real transformation begins. Because emotions are unreliable. They come and go like the weather. One day you wake up feeling unstoppable, and the next you can barely move. If you build your life around emotions, you'll live like a leaf in the wind, drifting wherever the mood takes you. But when you build it on discipline, you create stability, structure, and strength that doesn't break under pressure. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired, bored, or unmotivated. It only cares if you show up. And that's the difference between people who talk about change and people who live it. You'll never kill negative thinking by waiting to feel ready. Feelings won't save you. Most people let their emotions drive everything. If they feel inspired, they work hard. If they feel tired, they quit. If they feel scared, they hide. But emotions are liars. They'll whisper comfort when you need pressure, rest when you need movement, and doubt when you need faith. The mind loves comfort, and emotions are its favorite weapon. You've got to train yourself to act regardless of what you feel. That's discipline, doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. There are mornings when your mind will scream at you to stay in bed. Skip the workout, take it easy. And in those moments, your body won't want to move, your heart won't want to fight, and your thoughts will start crafting 1,000 excuses that sound reasonable. That's when you must separate yourself from your emotions. That's when you've got to say, I don't operate on feelings. I operate on purpose. Because if you give in every time you feel discomfort, you'll spend your life enslaved to your emotions, trapped in cycles of regret and weakness. Discipline is the key that breaks that cycle. You've got to understand that emotion is temporary, but results are permanent. The feeling of pain, laziness, or fear fades. But the strength you build from doing what's hard stays forever. Discipline builds evidence that you're stronger than your mind's excuses. Every time you act despite emotion, you're rewriting your identity. You're teaching your brain that it doesn't control you. You control it. That's how mental freedom is earned, through repetition, through consistency, through doing the small things daily when no one's watching. The reason people quit isn't lack of motivation. It's lack of discipline. Motivation is like a spark. It feels powerful but dies fast. Discipline is the fire that keeps burning long after motivation fades. When your goals stop exciting you, discipline keeps you on track. When your confidence breaks, discipline reminds you that you've done hard things before. When your mind floods with doubt, discipline says, keep going. That's why the most successful people don't rely on emotion. They rely on systems, habits, and standards that don't change based on how they feel. You have to build your life around non-negotiables, things you do no matter what. You train even when you're tired. You study even when you're bored. You grind even when no one's clapping. Because every time you act with discipline, you kill a piece of your weakness. You starve that negative voice that tells you you're not enough. You replace it with proof that you can follow through, proof that you can control your own mind. That's the ultimate power. Discipline isn't punishment. It's freedom. People think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want. That's not freedom. That's chaos. Real freedom is having control over your impulses. It's waking up early when your mind says sleep. It's eating clean when your emotions crave comfort. It's staying consistent when your mood swings. Discipline builds structure, and structure builds peace. Because when you know you've done the work, you don't need to question your worth. You've earned it. There's beauty in the struggle of discipline. The process will hurt. You'll question yourself 1,000 times. You'll want to quit. But every time you push through, something shifts. You begin to respect yourself in a way no words or compliments ever could. That's the power of discipline. It builds inner pride that can't be faked. It's the quiet confidence that comes from doing the right thing, not the easy one. Negative thinking thrives when your emotions control you. When you feel down, your mind starts feeding you every reason to give up. But when you live by discipline, you learn to act without permission. You don't wait for your emotions to agree. You take action, and that action changes how you feel. Movement kills negativity. Every disciplined act, waking up early, training hard, finishing what you start, chips away at your doubts. Slowly, your emotions start to follow your actions instead of controlling them. That's how you flip the power dynamic inside your mind. Discipline is also honesty. It's telling yourself the truth. That comfort is killing you. That excuses are lies. That waiting for motivation is just another way of quitting slowly. Discipline strips away illusions. It's you versus you every single day. And most days, it's not about winning big. It's about showing up, because showing up consistently beats showing up perfectly. The person who shows up with 60% energy every day will always destroy the one who shows up with 100% only when it feels good. You've got to become the kind of person who does what needs to be done, even when no one cares, when no one sees, when no one praises. Because discipline isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the dark. It's built in those quiet, unseen moments when you decide to rise instead of rest, to work instead of wait. That's where character is born. And when discipline becomes your lifestyle, you stop needing external motivation. You just move. You just do. There's power in consistency. When you keep showing up, the mind starts to break. It realizes that no matter how loud it screams, you're not listening anymore. That's when the shift happens. The noise fades. The resistance weakens. You start moving through life with clarity because you've proven to yourself that emotions can't stop you. You've separated who you are from how you feel. That's when you become dangerous. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's lonely, repetitive, and often thankless. But it's the foundation of greatness. It's the bridge between who you are and who you could be. Every disciplined decision, every rep, every early morning, every sacrifice is a brick in that bridge. And the day will come when you look back and realize you didn't just build strength or success. You built a new identity, one that's unshakable, one that doesn't break when life gets hard. You'll realize that discipline was never about perfection. It was about alignment. It was about choosing what's right over what's easy. It was about proving to yourself that you can be trusted, that your word means something, that your actions match your goals. That's what kills negative thinking, the undeniable evidence that you've earned your respect. So stop letting emotions dictate your direction. Stop waiting to feel ready, inspired, or confident. Start doing what you know needs to be done right now. Because discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what you're willing to sacrifice. It asks if you're ready to stop being a prisoner of your emotions and start being the commander of your mind. The truth is, you'll never feel like doing it most of the time. But that's the point. Discipline is built in resistance. Every time you move through that discomfort, you're building strength that no mood can touch. And one day, you'll wake up and realize that the person who used to be controlled by feelings is gone, replaced by someone unstoppable, someone who acts with clarity, consistency, and conviction. That's what it means to kill negative thinking. Not by fighting emotions, but by mastering them. Not by waiting for the right moment, but by becoming the kind of person who creates it. Discipline is the final weapon, the one that silences doubt, defeats fear, and builds the version of you the world can't break.